Party Crapple. Folks, we are live. Welcome to Gamers Health. I am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. With me, as every Saturday, is my lovely wife, Rachel.
Hello.
And we're not in the normal abode, but we are in a crowded room, and therefore the VR background is up, or else I don't know, random activity might start happening behind us. I don't know. So now that that's out of the way, and you'll see Rachel disappear occasionally because my VR background it's a virtual VR background, so of course it doesn't take kindly to the Daryl Hannah impasta next to me. Yes, I'm showing my age when I talk about Daryl Hannah.
Hey, look, my shirt is disappearing.
Your shoulder is gone, Rachel. I don't know where your
Yeah, I was
shoulder.
trying to say, like, when I go like this, it was making me disappear a little bit. I was trying to see what I could do with that.
Rachel's trying to see if she can just get
I'm like, where can I hide? Oh, down here?
Joseph.
Oh,
Welcome.
hey.
Well, you're hiding because you're off screen.
I don't know that. Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe not all the way, but
yeah,
a lot of the way.
yeah. A lot of the way, a bit of the way. She's like, yeah, a bit honey candy bar, please. So, um, for those that don't realize this, the Northeast is back to having its Canadian air quality again.
Not as badly, but
not as badly.
significantly.
It's a significant effect. So, it's like out of the frying pan into the fire. It's interesting because New York City is talking about doing away with wood burning stoves for pizzerias. Yet we have a wood burning country to our north that is on fire. So go figure that one out. So what little health updates do we got, Rachie? What little health updates we got? Oh, I went to my endocrinologist the end of last week. Got my blood test results back this week, along with my urine, and everything is good. Everything uh is my blood sugar though. My like if you go by my sensor, my
Libra 2.
my Libra 2. If you go by my sensor and you look at the average reading for 90 days, you go, oh, your A1C is like 5.7. Oh, that's awesome. But apparently, according to my blood, my A1C is like 6.3. So not awesome, but still acceptable for under control
Well, it's
for
in
type 2 diabetes.
control for a type 2 diabetic.
Yes.
So that's not anything to sneeze at.
By the way, I have been sneezing like a jackass the last couple of days. I am thinking it's the particulates in the air.
Yeah.
Rach has been, I sneezed on one of my videos the other day.
Mm.
Joseph wishes his A1C were 6.3. I was, when I got hospitalized just over 3 years ago, my
Yeah,
A1,
what was it at its highest?
9.2
Shit.
or 9.3, something like that. It was significantly more. So I will take the improvement that I can. And then today I got I got heartburn today. So today I had the absolute thrill and joy of having to call my mail order pharmacy slash pharmacy insurance to get 3 of my prescriptions renewed, which I had to hold off on the renewal. Thankfully, 2 of them I had plenty in stock, and one I just kind of extended the life of. After July 1st for the new fiscal year, because I kind of blew my budget because I have a lot of name brand prescriptions, and my Brilinta, apparently the farm with the prescription,
Your copay card.
my
your,
copay card, my assistance card from the manufacturer,
Cost support. Yeah.
cost support, all of that. Wasn't going through, but I have to apparently call the Brilenta management, and they got to verify me. Whatever. I got the other two shipping. Thank God. My Entresto and my Fortezega. All these names are made up, by the way. They're all fucking made up. But you know, and I got to give a lot of credit to the customer service at the other end and at OptRx.
Yeah, she did a great job.
She really. I had one about 6 months ago. I wanted to put my fist through my computer screen, and being that it's an all-in-one from Apple, that would have been expensive. But no, I didn't. This one was really good. She even actually called Brilenta's customer service number herself to find out what steps I needed to do. And I was like, this is just the other two. I've got like a month and a half left of the Brilenta. I got so much left because of changes in dosage. So when your dosage changes, it wound up working out for me. So I'll make those phone calls. I think probably on Monday, because I don't think that from what I saw on the website, it's a Monday through Friday number to deal with.
Okay.
What I got to deal with.
You have your card, and I just call the number to activate it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just catching up to your comments here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Joseph, in September 2020, his was 7.0.
Oh,
In
wow.
December it was 9.6.
Ooh.
He's an insulin user and also wears a Libra 2.
Mhm.
Last time Rach went with me, my endocrinologist, which was a month and a half ago, almost 2 months. Rach asked about the Libra 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, yeah, it's a little bit smaller. And it does you don't have to do these scans every 6 to 8 hours to make sure everything got uploaded. It does it automatically, but he wasn't all that excited about it. So I was like, whatever.
You didn't think it was that much different that,
No.
you'd have to change everything up.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, totally off topic, these thermal flask, Rich has one too. Yeah.
Like Rage, it's kind of going in and out.
Yeah. Didn't like that blue. It likes. But in any case, these are these were at Costco. What was it, 2 for $15?
Something like that.
So yeah, we had to kind of cheat because there were 2-packs, so we had to like make our 2-pack have the colors we wanted.
Yeah, we were tearing them apart. Then we walked to the end of the aisle like, oh shit, there's a security guard.
He's gonna be looking at me
You're
like,
gonna say something to us.
put that shit back and leave my store. Never come here again.
You put the white one in there. You're gonna have to get those white ones.
See, Joseph. See, I was on insulin initially. After 3 years ago, they had me on long term and short term, and the first
that
thing
was a lot.
Then the first thing the endocrinologist did was get me off the short term, and then when he could get me off the long term, he did. And once we got to go to injectables,
so I guess that was more
fun.
for stabilization, and then like as you got stable, they were able to change you out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joseph, the Libra 3 is awesome, but Medicare won't pay for it because it doesn't have the reader.
Oh,
makes sense. It's all the app.
Huh.
The reader that got recalled because it can catch fire and explode.
Oh, dang.
He's saying that Samsung
yeah,
built
we'll
it.
stay happy with the Libra 2 things.
Yeah. So when I first had the Libra 2, which again was so much better than sticking my effing fingers, but when I first got the Libra 2, there was no app for it. So it was carrying around that little pocket device constantly. And I'm the guy, right? There's a limit to how much shit you want to carry. It's not like we...
Right, you had one pocket for that and the other pocket for your phone.
Yeah, and keys and change. And It's like, and there was and thank God it's not when I was working. I had to carry two wallets.
Oh
So
yeah, because
I had my Shield and work ID in
hmm
the one. So Tammy, we had withdrawal yesterday without you. Hope you had a fun time. It's funny. I was looking forward to it all day, and was bummed when Tom reminded me it was the fifth Friday. So
Oh.
um, here's a little secret. First Friday is not going to be Glenn. Uh, Glenn is on vacation this week and next week. So Bad Mike will be playing the part of Glenn, and I got to reach out to Rob, see if Rob can make it, and maybe we'll make it like a Rob Conley night. Like kind of like Showtime at the Apollo, without like having somebody to yank you off the stage if the crowd moves. Did I say that? Did I say that? Rachel's going to note that at least you have pockets, Eric. Thank you, Joseph. Actually, my niece would be the one noticing that. She's like, I should be buying boys' pants because girls'
What did
pants
I
don't
tell
have
her to do? I said buy boys' pants so that you're gonna have some. Since
pockets.
you don't want to carry a purse.
Yeah, she's 12. She doesn't need to
Yeah.
carry a purse. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think I carried one at 12. I carried a bag, but not.
Wow. Yeah.
I had like a backpack or whatever.
And then 2 weeks from today, we have our excursion to the city.
Oh yes.
That should be a fun update. We're going to be getting together with Joe the lawyer, Professor DM, the Greyhawk Ragnar, hit the complete, then go across the street, have a little food, have some drinks, and just basically chew the shit. We've been doing it's a yearly thing now. This will be like the third anniversary. I can't believe it. Tammy, love it. Tank Car Rob and Bad Mike, TRB. Trouble. Yes. Yes, it will be guaranteed trouble. But then again, we usually trouble. I mean, that's just how we roll, man. It's just how we roll. So I was thinking shortly before I came on the show because there's always events going on in people's lives, right? And I understand that we don't control the events that happen, and usually the more impactful they are, the less control we have over it.
Of course.
That just seems to be how the world runs, and it's kind of got into my head. It's like when bad things happen, when shitty things happen, we always go, on some level, why,
why do I have to have this thing?
Or why did God do this? I mean, none like I never asked for congestive heart failure. I never asked for Hodgkin's. I never asked to be at an event like 9/11.
Yeah.
But the person that I am now, who I happen to actually like, I got to say that. I mean, I hope Rachel likes, but she stuck with me for well over a decade.
Yeah.
So she either likes it, or you're fucking insane. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one it is, Rach. But you are who you've become because of everything that you have gone through,
Right.
and it is not for higher powers to decide how the world actually runs. And
right, the universe sends us these things to because we're like as if we're stones or something, and it's polishing us out for
it's
whatever's coming.
Yeah,
next.
I always I've had these discussions with friends and family, and it's like, oh, if I could change one thing in my past, what would I do? It's like, well, if I change one thing in my past, then am I who I am now? And if I'm not who I am now, am I where I am now? If I'm not, where am I? And now is Rachel in my life? So you just have to take the events in your life and have faith that in the end things will work. So
right, and that these things, well, they don't. Well, they do shape us to some degree. They're not. the end all be all of who we are.
No.
Yeah.
So, and yes, Tammy, Professor Dungeon Master, Dan Masters. So, yeah, this is going to be the third summer. We started this in 2021. So it should be interesting. And it's nice to get together with other YouTubers that do this on a side. It's different, and it's different levels. I mean, Dan has mastered it. Joe Block has twice the viewership that I do easily, and he's really focused on Greyhawk. I'm a bit more spread. And Joe needs,
he has more, and he has a more narrow focus.
Yes.
Oh.
And then of course Joe, who has been on lazy, and if it wasn't for him being on the cast twice a month, he wouldn't even be on YouTube no more. He needs to get back doing his shit. So.
Oh, I didn't know he stopped.
Yeah, he stopped. I don't know why. Him and Matt both stopped.
Oh.
That is such wisdom. If you sit around having a poor me life, you aren't living at all. And it's not.
Yes.
And it's not even. It's not even. It's not even that. It's.
Well, you're living your truth, and you're helping other people. Hopefully, you're helping other people understand life,
right,
and their things too. By living in your truth and
right, and
knowing that you're special,
right, and everybody at some point gets knocked in the nads pretty hard.
Yeah.
Even you ladies can get knocked in the nads pretty hard. And, you just have to, after you get through it, you just got to figure out how do you keep going. And it's not always easy. And I never, we look at people who have like easy lives. I don't really think they have easy lives.
Well, it's always like you look at whatever it is that they're presenting.
Yes.
And that looks easly and lovely. But you don't know the reality of what
below the surface.
Yes.
What do they say? Money doesn't buy you happiness. But...
Right. And then also it depends too on the Constitution. Their Constitution, like they might have a more fragile being somehow.
Psyche.
Yes. And then like just some little thing might throw them, and then like they break down.
So, and yes, Tammy. Well, I like Dan. I wouldn't say I love him, but I do like him. He's he's very knowledgeable, and I think that the biggest Rach disappears from the screen as she comes in real tight.
Yeah, I had to check it out.
But
that's a great way to hide.
Yeah, hide in plain sight, Rach. I try to get the damn thing to focus on us again. But he was funny because when we first met him, his first thing was like, I don't understand how you do these live streams. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you do live streams. You go live with guests. He goes,
they could ask you anything.
They could ask you,
say anything themselves.
Right. It goes, it could go south so quickly. And you know what? And a large part of that, I have to say, is faith. All right. I mean, you have to have faith, not just in yourself, but in the people that you are live streaming with or co-hosting with, inviting on. You gotta have a large amount of faith that things will go well, and if they fuck up, at least somebody will get enjoyment out of it. That's the way I look at it. So, you do what, Joseph. You do what you can do when you can do it. Yes.
Right.
And Tammy, I honor the past, but I focus on going forward.
Yes.
TXG, you also have to take into account your perceptions of what has happened in the past. I mean, again, we are whatever we are at this exact moment is what my previous 55 years, 11 months, and 29 days, or no, on one day, have turned me into. And If I change any of that, then I'm not the me that I'm right now. So that's it's rough, you know. I don't deal. When I was a kid, I only would read one Marvel comic title, only one, on a regular basis. I was a DC fan, but that one comic I would read was What If, and
Oh,
why?
that's so interesting.
And I would read What If because what if Stacy never died in the Spider-Man uh, comic series? What if Tony Stark never defeated alcoholism? What if? And it was good because I wasn't stuck on the main plot line because I probably hadn't read it, maybe heard about it from my friends.
Hmm.
But I enjoyed the What If because it was somebody else's What If. All right. I just don't like dwelling on my own what ifs because, again, I wouldn't be the who and where I am now. I mean, do I wish that I didn't have congestive heart failure? Of course. Do I wish I'd never contracted Hodgkin's? Yes, certainly. But those experiences have turned me into who I am now. So, Joseph, Dan's got to think defensively about such things because teaching is side. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, certainly. And, I certainly would not be doing live streams if I was, I don't know,
A teacher.
an active cop.
Yeah, that too.
Hey,
I don't think you didn't do it until way after.
No, I would do podcasting, but you didn't
Yes.
you didn't see my face. But hey, that's that fucker that arrested me 2 years ago. Who wants that?
Mm-mm.
I'm really enjoying my bottle. Just imagine if I had booze in it. Just imagine. Tom, I always tell my kids, you do you.
Yeah.
Joseph, I don't know if he does or not, but worrying about that kind of thing every day in a career will make a person a little skittish.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely. I mean,
yeah, I think that's probably the normal, the default, setting for us, to be, leery about, putting ourselves out there, opening ourselves to risk like that. And, it's for each person to judge, when they're at a point where they can take certain risks.
Right. Yep. Yeah, Tammy, I have to be very careful as higher up you go on an educational site. I mean, when I was working in internal affairs for a number of years, I was the liaison with our civilian oversight, the CCRB, the Civilian Complaint Review Board. And they investigated FATO, force, abuse of authority, discourtesy, and the great catch-all, offensive language. So I would have to do training sessions for their new investigators. And their new investigators could hit cops with, and it was only, they could only investigate uniformed members of the service. They couldn't investigate civilians. And I would do training, and I would do the training pretty much like I don't do a script for this stuff. I would have a general outline of what and how to get touched, and I had my staff, my detectives knew what they had to cover from their side. If you're making requests for documentation, what we need.
Mm-hmm.
But I started out with, I introduced myself. I'm Sergeant Steiner, Internal Affairs Bureau, CCRB Liaison Unit. I'm the commanding officer. And I just want to give you a little background. You are all civil servants now. So you are members of the bureaucracy of New York City. And with that comes certain aspects, certain parts of a general culture. And I just want to tell you a small story. And I said, I'm about 6 months into the police academy, about a year and a half from graduating, going out on patrol. and I'm sitting at the dinner table with my parents, and my mother goes to me, "We don't talk that way at the table." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And everybody goes, I go, and I go, "It's like that." I go, like what? What the fuck? My mother's like, "What do you do?" I go, Mom, calm down. I don't know what the fuck's your problem, but really, this seems fucking excessive. And then she's like, "Why do you keep saying that word?" "What fucking word?" "Fuck." "I'm not saying fuck." She's like, "You're saying it." And then I go back. I went, "Oh, what?" I go, "It's part of the culture. And it's not just police culture. It's FD culture, sanitation culture. It's the civilian culture of bureaucracy. Everybody starts using the F word." So I said, so before you start one of your investigations because somebody heard a cop say fuck on the street, first remember the person that's offended by it probably says it as often, if not more, than the cop in question is. But I go, were they calling somebody a fuck, or were they using it as an adjective? Like, what the fuck just happened? Oh, are you fucking okay? Holy shit, looks like you took one fucking wallop. That, as opposed to go, "Hey, you fucking retard, what the fuck?"
Right. When I would run groups, like for example, like they'd be like, "Oh, lady, can I curse?" Or like they'd be unsure what they could say. I was like, "Yeah, you can curse all day long, but you don't use it to describe somebody or call somebody that thing, or you can, just
right
to describe something, to say how you felt about something, but never to describe another person that's sitting with you here."
Right. So, I mean, this is that's the training that I would do 10 years ago to let them understand, to put them into to open their eyes up to the larger picture of offensive language. But when I came on the job in 96, we had cell phones that didn't really take pictures. You got 20 minutes a month for like $40, which is what, like $80 today. I mean, you weren't on that phone like we are now. This wasn't your pocket computer.
Your whole life wasn't in your phone.
I mean, I had a beeper if somebody wanted to get in touch with me for the first couple of years, beat me. But things started changing around 2000. Phones started becoming a little bit better. Flip phones started coming into place. And we had the Diallo incident in the NYPD, which was a horrible, horrible tragedy. And I worked in a neighboring precinct. And you would stop somebody in a car stop, and you would see their cell phone on the dashboard. And I actually asked one person, that's the third time I saw it, "Can I ask you why your cell phone's on the dashboard?" He goes, "Oh, my pastor said if you get stopped by the cops, call your home answer machine, put your phone on the dashboard, and record it."
Which is clever for the time.
Very clever.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was like, wow, that's actually a pretty good idea. Holy shit, that's not bad. But technology now is, I mean,
hit your voice recorder and you're good.
Yeah. The phone can stay in your pocket. You're still going to record the conversation, right? So, yes, we've all seen the videos on TV. And cops are wearing body cameras now. When I left, we were just experimenting with body cameras. But part of my job in the command center as a supervisor was making sure we were doing checks to see, is this cop involved in this? Who's trying to call me? Oh, admin chat for one of my groups. No, that can most assuredly wait. But we would, body cameras. I initially I saw them, I was like, oh, this is going to be miserable. No, it exonerates cops more often than it does anything else because, well, I mean, maybe they're on their best behavior because they know they're being recorded and filmed from their own chest height. But it also, I mean, sometimes I talk about reality being subjective. The same encounter, what you remember happening is colored by your perception. So eyewitness testimony is not foolproof.
Mhm.
So cameras is really one of the greatest things I have to say that we really moved on with. Oh, look at this, right? We're halfway in. We're 30 minutes in. We haven't even touched on today's topic. I should have had a V8. Oh my God, they don't do those commercials anymore. I don't know.
They do still sell V8.
Yeah, it still tastes like shit. But
man, I don't think I ever drank it.
Oh, I did. Oh, it was nasty. The V8 with fruit juice was better, but then you're not really drinking all
There was just a bunch of sugar, though.
Yeah,
not really doing what you
well, you could get.
thought it was supposed to do.
Well, then you could get the stuff with the saccharin or whatever, and have the lower sugar version. But we wanted to talk about sleep, and the reason why we wanted to talk about sleep is because I found something very interesting earlier this week. I wear my Apple Watch, and I have an app that tracks my sleep, and I knew I hadn't gotten my full 8 hours of sleep the other night. The prior night, I got like just over 7, and I was a little ass dragging. So I go into my app to look something up, and it shows me with 8 hours and 5 minutes of sleep. I'm like, huh? Because I had tried to take a nap when we got back, but I just wasn't able to relax. I laid in my recliner for, I don't know, half an hour, and I said, it's not happening, but I relaxed. And I'm looking at, and it didn't count that recliner time as sleep. You know what it counted as sleep? Driving back from Long Island from visiting my niece in traffic for just over an hour, it counted as sleep.
Which is bizarre, because it's like, you don't really think of being behind the wheel in that drive with the volume of people we have here. Being something that could be relaxing. But to me, I'm just like, wow, what is it doing? Are you going into some sort of like almost yoga nidra kind of thing? Like yoga nidra is a state where you're totally awake, but you're getting the delta waves in your brain going. So I'm wondering if that's happening as you're driving.
Well, it's interesting.
Like you get into a state of relaxation. And you're very observant of what's around you. And I do notice that about you. You notice a lot of things on the roadway, and you'll verbalize those to me,
Well, and here's the thing, too. I mean, when I used to commute, even after I stopped commuting, when I used to get my twice a month drives out to Long Island that were like an hour and a half just to go out, an hour to get back to play face-to-face D&D, I used to listen to podcasts, and was it Things You Should Know and Things You Don't Want You to Know? And Things You Don't Want You to Know had an episode on the subconscious mind. And I remember part of that one episode, I should go back and re-listen to it. It talked about how when you do something that is repetitive, and this drive of ours is repetitive, that you can, and I think we've all noticed this, right? Especially when you're driving, and you're at a location, and you just go, "How did I get here?" Like you were awake. You never fell asleep, right? You've been driving. Your body's been, but part of your mind said, "I'm taking over driving," and part of your mind went off and did something else. And that part of your mind that went off and did something else just realized that it's not been paying attention to the driving part.
Yeah, I think that's like your deltas. You get into the delta state.
So when I drive, I took an EVOC course in the academy, and that was probably some of the best training I got in the NYPD in the academy, which was because it didn't just teach you, how to drive through, like, I don't know, cones or whatever. It taught you to be aware without being so focused on being aware. I basically see my head go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But my mind is picking out every car in front of me and even what's behind me. And when a car cuts me off, I'm not generally surprised. I'm cursing, but it's because I knew that motherfucker was gonna cut me off. Because you start
His
reading
behavihavior showed it from
something, you saw that little wiggle jiggle going on
before,
before
yeah.
that, you know, or the time I was driving my father's car. Uh, this is back when I had Hodgkin's. I was out of work and
Oh my
homesick,
god.
and my parents insisted on we're going to go to the North Shore of Long Island, go to the beach. You can't,
The sunken meadow.
you can't swim on the North Shore because most of the North Shore is just pebbles.
But you need like Tevas or like water shoes or whatever.
Whatever. You need a shovel. But in any case, drove out there. I'm on chemo. I'm beat ass tired. So, but everybody else was tired coming back. My son Chris didn't drive. He was too young. And my mother was tired. My father was tired. So, can you drive? All I want to do is sleep in the back seat. But coming out, I keep telling my father, Pop, your brakes don't sound good. No, Pop, I'm hearing metal on metal. Your brakes don't sound good. No, you're hearing, but just tell me I'm hearing stuff. So as I'm driving and I am in the second to left lane, car in front of me brakes, and I've got good cushion, and I go to brake, and all I hear is metal on metal, and the car doesn't slow down. So Evoc kicked in, quick left, quick right, left is open, went into the HOV lane. Everybody in the car woke up. My father's like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Pop, your brakes don't work." He goes, "What?" And I go, "Did you hear that?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Your brakes don't work. I gotta leave like, I don't know, like a half block between me and the car in front of me." And he goes, "This is not gonna be good." You learn this stuff, but you can get focused and you will forget sometimes where you are. So I was like, "Wow, sleep. I'm getting credit for sleep when I'm driving." It's not the first time.
No.
We've seen this happen before. So, Tom, once or after 2 trips to Cape Cod in a tropical storm, my boss asked me why it took so long. Told him took a nap. Did you want the van back in one piece or not? He said nothing. That was a 14-hour day.
Wow.
And the most Joseph, the most common kind of accident you cities get into is LFS looked but failed to see. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, something else that they tell you as a driver, never rely upon your rearview mirror or your side view. You should always turn your head. Well, we learned in in our EVOC course that if you're driving a van, if you look in your rearview mirror, all you're going to see is a bunch of cops doing this. Or you're going to be driving a van that rearview mirror looks back on nothing because it's a solid walled van and you got no ability to see out. So you learn how to use your other mirrors. So, and just stuff that you have to, work with. RPG Grandma. I drive for a living. Cool. And yes, you have to know how to avoid the trance. It's important to keep moving your body, looking and listening at everything. Tunnel focus is bad. Tammy, what are your tricks? I move my body a lot. Left foot, looking around, moving my torso, taking a nap between shifts. Yeah, I mean, the trance is, and that's part of the reason why when I'm driving, if we're going out to see my niece, I got Rach with me.
Yes.
So if I know Rachel's being quiet for too long, I'm often the one waking her up. But she's like, I wasn't sleeping. I was just resting my eyes. I wasn't sleeping. Especially on long trips. But,
well, because you can't always see my eyes. I go for wear sunglasses.
Rach, if you think I don't know when my wife is sleeping, you've got another thing coming, hon. You got another thing coming. Now, one thing I do notice about my sleep, according to my watch, is I am highly medicated. I am on Brilinta and Entresto, Metropolol. So my heart rate doesn't vary all that much. whether I'm resting or I am sleeping or I am doing physical activity. It's got like a 20-point range, maybe 25 if I'm really exercising. So, but some people they want you to see at least a 10% dip in your heart rate from your normal resting. I don't get that, but I also don't get that much deep sleep. According, I get sleep, but it's light sleep.
Oh, yours doesn't go in that blue area.
No, I don't get a lot of blue, and I have always.
I mean, you're not supposed to, because like that blue sleep, that deep sleep, is very, very potent, and so your body will cycle in and out of it.
Yes.
Through that process, it takes like an hour and a half or whatever, and yeah, like you'll cycle in and out of it, but that's the most restorative sleep.
Yes.
That you get. That's when like muscles repair and
so
all that, like,
and I think
rejuvenation.
I think I have the light sleep. I think that actually is a byproduct of my occupation, because I'm, it's
having to be calm but vigilant kind of thing.
Kind of,
yeah.
And I've always been a light sleeper. I tend to wake up with a little noise, a little movement. Although I will say, I love our mattress, but it annoys the fuck out of me, because a lot of times I don't even realize that you left the bed until I hear you in the kitchen or in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then my first thought is, who's in the house? And I go reaching over for you, and it's like, oh, she's
it's
not.
Her. Yeah, the Tempur-Pedics are very good mattresses, but yeah, you don't always know.
Oh God. Yeah, knowing when a car is going to pull a crazy Ivan, and and even just again when I and driving was not supposed to be one of the main topics, but in a way it is, because your awareness is if you're tired when you get into the car, and I've had that, it's just like, oh my God, this is not going to be good. I've driven to work that way, or driven home from work after doing 30 hours straight, and it's 32 degrees outside. You're driving home with the windows open because it's the only way to keep awake. My worst was had about 4 years on the job, maybe 3 years on the job. I had an arrest that never ended. Once it got processed and they got lodged, I was held to process, and the processing was supposed to start at like midnight. It didn't start till like 7 a.m. and didn't finish until about, I don't know, 3.
Oh, sheesh.
And then my sergeant coming in from the next tour was like, well, you're already here. You just want to keep on working. Why not? I was like, oh. And then after like 2 hours, it was like, oh, no, you got to go home. I go, what? It's like, yeah, you're done. You're done. I'm like, all right. So I'm driving home from my command at the 4-1 precinct in the South Bronx on Bruckner Boulevard. And I am honking my horn at cars that are stopped at the light when they should be moving. Why the hell aren't they moving? I need to get home. My day is done. I want to get home. Gosh damn it. And then cars are honking at me. And I'm like, I can't go yet. The light hasn't changed. And I'm having this argument with people all down Bruckner Boulevard until I get to the Triborough Bridge. And I get to the Triborough Bridge. And this is when they still had toll lanes. And they were mostly manned. And I went, holy fuck. The red lighted lanes have no line. The green lighted lanes have the lines. Oh, I the whole drive home, well, that first 5, 6, 7 minutes on the Bruckner, I thought green meant stop and red meant go. So I was going through every red light.
Oh shit! And you didn't realize it until the tollway.
Yes.
Where you shouldn't be in the lane.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's when when your brain shuts down. So when I was working midnights in the command center for my last 6 months, my lieutenant used to take a long meal and sit in his truck and nap. My fellow sergeants, we would all generally take. You would take your what we would call your meal and your personals. You got entitled to 1 hour plus 220, so you take an hour and 40, and they would go and they would nap in the crib or go to the rec room, the lunchroom, and just sit at a chair and put the head on the table and nap. And I could never do it. Tried crawling up on the floor, crawling up in a bed. I mean, I just could not fall asleep at work. Tried, could never do it. And yes, that was way too tired. But once I got adjusted to midnights, I could my sleep pattern at home was far from good because I would come home and I would be home around 7 o'clock. See Rachel off in the morning. Put my head down around 7:30, 7:40. I'd have a glass of wine, a little cheese. Thanks to an in-law that was a retired assistant chief in one of the departments up in Connecticut. He used to work the overnights. And he just had a little wine, a little cheese. And he would write, put me right out. Oh my God! But I would get up after 4 hours. So I get up after 4 hours. I would shower. I get dressed. I go down to my local pub for lunch, have a few beers. Then I come home and I'd nap for another 2 to 3 hours before Rachel came home. Spend a little time with Rachel before going to work. So I had a weird split sleep schedule, which went on for months. And then when I retired, and this is what I thought was going on last night, I thought I was not sleeping. My watch told me otherwise, but I would look at my watch almost hourly and go, "I'm still awake."
Yeah.
But not realizing that I was actually asleep in between checking the watch.
Right.
But because I've had nights over the last 6, 7 years where my sleep pattern just falls back into you're working midnights, you're working behind the desk, and can't sleep until the sun sets.
Yeah, it was weird. We went to bed a little early last night.
Yeah, I was tired.
Yeah.
So, Tammy, we have the same issue with the bed. We are always surprised to find the other one has left the bed.
Yeah.
I'll feel her coming, and if I don't hear her in the kitchen, I will feel her coming back into bed. Usually because the dog has to hop back into bed at the same time.
Yeah. Down the floor.
RPG Grandma, we will sleep in cars, our work vehicles, in the lunchroom if we need to, especially if we got COVID, because the COVID fatigue was hell on all of us. I am sure. Yeah. I mean, we had COVID twice. The first time we had COVID, I was sleeping 10 to 12 hours. And I also had that COVID fog.
Yeah, needing a nap too. Like, I had a lot of fatigue.
Yeah,
I had it.
It was not fun.
The first time, and the second time to some degree, but not like it was my first time.
Yeah, Tammy, you have to listen to your body. You can't cheat sleep. Eventually, your body will force you to make it up. And it's true.
Yes,
you can't, and that's the thing that. Listen, everybody requires a different amount of sleep. But as you get older, you tend to require a little bit more. Excuse me. And the more active your day is, you may require some more. I mean, I find when I was working my normal 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. or 2:30, I would get home around 3:15, and I would nap until Rach got home from work, or until dinner was ready or whatever, because I wasn't getting enough sleep at night.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not, because I was getting up at 5 and going to bed at 11, 12, 12:30, because there were more important things to do than sleep. Gosh darn it. Split sleep is a thing some people do for more awake time.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't do it consciously. It's just the way my body adjusted to those hours.
Yeah.
Because you can sleep a little less and still feel refreshed that way.
Yes.
Yeah. RPG Grandma, we clock on way early. Roosters aren't up yet, so not unusual for us to nap in between. I can certainly see that. I mean, when I did the 6 o'clock starts, that for me was was really ass dragging. But my morning commutes were a lot quicker. My afternoon commutes were a lot quicker. So it was essentially a win-win. But I mean, like the 9:30 starts, which I had for a while. You slept in a little bit longer, which was nice, but your commute was twice as long. Your coming home was an hour just to get back from Manhattan, and your evening was already shot.
Yeah.
You know, I can imagine how much of a hell it was driving with that COVID fog.
Wow.
That COVID fog lasted me about 4 months, 4.5 months before it finally. I didn't get much COVID fog the second bout of COVID.
No.
But that first bout, man, I was just like, holy crap. When you do something and you're like, what am I doing? How did I get here? It's like, huh? Tammy, I am mostly a 6 or 6.5 hour night girl.
Mm-hmm.
I can never could take a nap, maybe more tired. I've napped more in this past year than ever. Usually after times when I'm burning the candle at both ends.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and I will find if I have, I don't know, a busy day, or Rach and I will go out and we'll take the dog to Forest Park and we get in like an hour of walking. I'll be like, come home and go, I had nappy time. And I'll go and
And sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Depends.
Joseph, this week I was awake over 40 hours and I really fucked up my knee taking a walk during that time because I should have gotten some sleep at some point.
Yeah.
My own dumbass fault. And Tammy's right about cheating yourself on sleep.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, there is also that weird thing where you get that second wind, right? Like your adrenaline kicks in again and you're like, oh, hey, I feel great. I don't feel like I've been awake for 24 hours. That second wind doesn't last very long. If you get that second wind, that's when you should be like, all right, time to drive home. You know, it's like, oh, God. RPG Grandma, I'm just happy my lungs have finally seemed to be cleared up from related pneumonia. And now I can start rehabbing my cardio. Yeah.
There you go.
I've had pneumonia twice in my adult life.
I've never experienced it, by God's grace.
And it sucks. You know, my first time I was in the police academy, I was out for 3 weeks. It was walking pneumonia. And I was like, what's the difference between that and regular and regular pneummonia? Oh, well, you're not going to be hospitalized. I still ran a fever of 104.
Oh, I thought walking pneumonia meant bronchitis. So
no.
Like a long-term bronchitis.
No, it just meant that you didn't have to get hospitalized.
Uh-huh.
But I broke out into a sweat at one point. It was a full body, like head to bottom of your feet sweat.
Oh, wow.
And just poured out of me. And I hit like 100. I think that's when my fever hit like 104.
Wow.
And then it went down to like 100. Just like, all right, time to cool off this guy.
Yeah, only one time in my adult life to have like 103, and that was with strep.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And I had to take a cool tub. Like I was in college, I think. Oh, it's terrible.
Joseph, catching up doesn't really catch you up.
Mm-hmm.
You're still at a deficit for many days to come if you don't injure yourself like I did.
Aw.
There you go. Yeah, walking pneumonia sucks rocks. My last pneumonia that I got in 2020, the year of COVID.
Yeah, that was scary.
When I had no COVID, I had an upper respiratory that turned into pneumonia and sepsis. But they were nice enough to tell me I had sepsis in my release paperwork from the hospital. They never told me when I was there that I had sepsis. Would have been nice to know.
They did say that the doc in the ER knew, and he said it.
Didn't tell it to me.
No, he said it to me. Like,
oh well.
When I barged into the emergency room, I said, "I'm getting really anxious out here." The lady's like, "Come on," and she like let me in there, and then I saw you in the place where they would
in the ice.
They would put the TB guys. I was like, "No way!"
I mean, it's isolation because COVID was just being heard about, and they thought I was going to be like case zero, patient zero for New York City. I wasn't, but they thought.
Yeah.
All I could think of from like
I was like, they really think he has COVID.
all I could think of from the RPGs that I've played over the years is like, wow, isn't this like the type of room where they do that flash fire to burn the diseased person to cinders? Wow,
Thank God I never heard of that, because that would have left me.
Don, welcome.
That would have come in my nightmares.
Good to see you, Don. You are absolutely forgiven for running late.
No worries.
Eric, your list is long. Sepsis, COVID 2 times, Hodgkin's, congestive heart failure, diabetes. You're forgetting my occluded carotid on the left. 100%. Just to be clear, don't want to jip myself on that one. Yeah, I'm a warrior. Somebody who's been on death's door. I knew somebody who was on death's door from sepsis. Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to recover from and rehab from.
Yeah. So that's what led to my congestive heart failure, but which saved my life, because otherwise I would have just had heart failure. So you don't take these events as when they come as, wow, it's a miracle that I had pneumonia and sepsis. It saved my life. But in retrospect, you go,
we'll take them as they
come.
Yeah.
Joseph, like most of us, the chickenpox vaccine didn't exist here when I got it. My doc, oh good, he'll get it. Very normal. And Chinese with prednisone. Oh, prednisone. He stopped that now. Chinese doc. When I was a kid, if somebody in your class got chickenpox, it was time to have a chickenpox party.
I don't know. We had it really young. We had it in our toddler years.
In
my house,
my sister and I got together. So I think I was 8 and she was 4.
Oh, okay.
And the living room was like, the trauma room in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So and it was always one of your parents sleeping there in the room with you.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Aww. I don't remember how the sleeping were.
All I remember is watching a lot of Get Smart on TV. Dun, 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 dun,
dun, I think I was maybe 3 when I had
it. Up to your grandmother sent me home in 2019 with 108 fever because they were maxed out.
Oh,
different virus to be in quarantine from that almost killed me. Spent months in my room alone trying to breathe with no help from docs.
God.
Well, I mean, honestly, and Rach will be the one that will tell you.
Mm-hmm.
When I got home from the hospital, my legs started swelling, and this is now we are literally a mile from Elmhurst Hospital, ground zero for New York City. When we had COVID was running rampant.
Yeah,
initially.
that was like the ground zero.
And that's the hospital I was in initially when they threw me out.
That was the one where he was in the isolation room.
Yeah. The improvised isolation room.
Yeah.
I was like tethered to the bed. They're like, yeah, you can use the potty next to your bed. I go, I can't. I'm tethered. I can't get my legs off the bed, let alone my ass. Oh my God, it was bad. But I probably would have dealt with my symptoms quicker, but it was COVID, right? So you had COVID out in the real world. So in my case, when I went to the hospital, when I finally went to the cardiologist who right away sent me to the hospital, St. Francis Heart, I got there like 12 hours after they opened up a COVID-free wing. So my options, if I had gotten there earlier, I would have been in the world of COVID. I would have been in a room with COVID patients. I would have been exposed. And instead, I was in a room where I didn't have to wear a mask.
Yeah, they were saying he timed it right.
Yep. So, oh, with your grandma. Then I caught COVID later after the lockdown ended.
Oh.
Oh, Eric, the battles you have fought and won, I suggest you buy a few lottery tickets. When I got diagnosed with Hodgkin's, I had bought lottery tickets, and I say we, bought it with my parents, thought we won $1 million for about 20 minutes before I
No
looked at it
way.
closer. I was like,
You're like, oh, sorry.
and I
to
said,
break it to
and
you.
I was like, well, you know what? I said, well, the good news is we didn't win $1 million. The bad news is we didn't win $1 million, but the good news is that probably means I'm going to survive cancer. Because if we did win $1 million, it'd be like, oh, hey, you get to enjoy it for 6 months.
Oh, Jesus.
You know. So. Joseph, I had chicken pox and prednisone withdrawals. Oh, geez, my temperature was 104.5.
Oh.
And RPG Grandma remembers chicken pox parties. Yeah, that was a thing. Mm-hmm. Get those kids exposed because you don't want to get chicken pox.
Yeah.
In your teen years or your adult years, you had to get it early. You dealt with it better early on. So yes. Tammy, chicken pox party. I was 16. I had to wear oven mitts while watching daytime game shows and soap operas with my grandmother for days.
Yeah, I had shingles. Talk about oven mitts. That's what I should have had. I really messed myself up. I made him put Tegaderm because I had these things were like all around me. Like they were all around like my trunk. And I was like, oh, I can't take it. I can't take it. I'm too itchy. Maybe it'll help me stop itching. So I made him wrap me in Tegaderm. Like Tegaderm is this sort of like plastic adhesive that's medical, but
yeah, no,
damn, it hurts so bad. Like I couldn't tolerate it. I was like, oh, this hurts even more, and I'm itching, and it's hurting more, and scratching, and then finally I couldn't tolerate it anymore because like it's all around me, and I'm like getting hot there, like the heat's like rising. I'm like, I can't take this.
Yeah, sticky saran wrap.
Yeah, so I took the whole thing off, and I had to go to the doctor the following day because I had taken the roofs.
Mm-hmm.
The roof. How like your shingles have a roof on it, and you don't want to disrupt that roof because you catch infections. So, she prescribed me with like 300 milligrams of gabapentin and some antibiotics in addition to like what she prescribed before with antivirals.
There you go.
And it was bad, and they stayed for a really long time. I was like, I had it like 2 weeks. So like Chris would come and get me from work, or somebody would come and get me from
son.
Work. Yeah. I would be hitting bumps. I'd be like, every time. It was so bad.
Tom, it's been an hour. I wonder if our little friend will be showing up. Should I let him know?
I don't know. How would you let him know?
Tom, I used to just set the timer to 20 minutes because I figured somebody finds the show and they want to comment that they should be allowed to. But then I figure if they find this show and they want to comment, they should just, they'll have to come back the next week and
get a lay of the land.
So
everybody out and then share next week.
So last week I set the timer for an hour, but I said, you know what, maybe just maybe. A certain Rich disappeared for a moment.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe some random troll will be trying to troll us, and we'll be able to go an hour. So it's a day. So I figure every week I'll just make it a random amount of time. Just I find it entertaining.
Yes, they need a cooling off period. So they sign up for the thing, and then they need a cooling off period. Like I guess before you buy a gun, kind of like that.
Yeah,
before they start talking trash.
Our second bout of COVID was very mild.
Yes,
and we only tested because my mother insisted.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been looking for it. I just would have said, "Oh, it's a real nasty cold,"
Yeah.
And the doctor was like, "Oh, you've already had it 5 days. There's not really much to do. I'm not going to prescribe the I can't remember the name of it. The medicine from Pfizer that they give.
Oh yeah, whatever it was.
Um,
It's you're probably already going to be done with it. You don't need it.
yeah,
Yeah. Patience has virtues if you have patience.
yeah.
They needed the time out. But like in my case, I was pretty much told I, I shouldn't be looking at any more boosters. I was like, all right. Not that I shouldn't have gotten the flu vaccine. I probably should have, but for COVID,
Yeah, we probably should have gotten flu, but
for COVID,
nobody's really been asking.
Yeah, my COVID antibodies were through the roof after the first time I got it. So, the more modern variants of COVID killed off the older ones. They're less lethal than influenza, which is still lethal enough for folks with shit immune systems. Exactly.
Yes.
And that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you listen, Rach and I yesterday we got the notice from New York State.
Oh yeah, so they were going to discontinue the New York State wallet, which is like the app where it holds your Vax card.
Yeah,
picture of your Vax card.
So there were still conventions in April that were requiring you to be fully vaxxed. Yet here we are at the end of June, and New York State is shutting this thing down.
Well, you know what? It's not their fault. It's whatever, like, public health authorities.
No. This wasn't required. This was the convention making the decision. That's that's.
It sucks to try and do the right thing for people and.
Wow, up to your grandma. She got hit hard by the COVID when she had it. The racing heart, fog, brain fog, exhaustion, no taste, no smell. Vertigo, pain in the hands and feet, numbness in the limbs, pneumonia, random loss, and return of ability to understand spoken language. Wow.
That she says that. That was that night. Like, we didn't know we caught it yet. But that night that I guess we were exposed and I caught it.
First time in New Year's?
Yeah. No, it's Christmas night.
Oh,
and, New Year's. Yeah. And that was the night that my heart was like racing. Yeah. Like,
and you blamed it on the alcohol.
And I was like, oh, that's the alcohol. No, it is the alcohol does it too. Because I found I was sin, so it still does it. But
Yeah.
It could have been a mixture of the things. It was really crazy high.
And we know we were exposed that day.
Because
we know where we got it from.
Yeah.
I'm not going to point fingers at our bartender. But...
No.
Jeez.
You got to make stuff work for you,
So, now, weather and smoke conditions permitting, July 4th, we're probably going to do a little barbecue at the house in Elmhurst in Queens. So that should be interesting. But it's dependent upon weather, and it's going to be dependent upon...
two factors, rain and smog, I guess, or like PM2 is what they call it.
Yeah. So yesterday, excuse me, the numbers were pretty high.
Yeah, it was like 130 or something like that.
I think it hit like 170.
Oh, it did, yeah?
Yeah, but today it's under 100.
Yeah, 678 or something.
And if we get rain tonight, it should pull it all out of the atmosphere.
Yeah, hopefully so.
So, yes. Now, and you know what? And RPG Grandma has an excellent statement here. Just darn happy to be alive. Exactly.
Yes.
All right. I mean, yes. You can have some really knock you down events in your life. Being alive to be able to look back at them is a blessing of its own, and listen, I already know if I was a cat, I burned through over half my lives. I understand that. But when you look over the precipice and you look at what it could be, and you realize where you are and what you need to do, it becomes real. You know, part of my retirement experience is going from the attitude of, and this is what you probably have to be successful as a cop, that you are not immortal and not necessarily impervious to damage, but that you've heard this on TV shows, like the bullet has your name on it. There's nothing you can do. Well, the reverse is really the attitude. The attitude is it doesn't have my name on it, and you go to work with the idea of nothing has my name on it. So you survive 9/11, which could easily not have happened. And then you survive Hodgkins, and you survive this and that. But if you survive with the attitude that this stuff doesn't have my name on it, your attitude toward it isn't life-changing. Your attitude is, all right, you keep moving on. Whereas congestive heart failure, I no longer have the idea that, well, it doesn't have my name on it. I have the idea now, I'm looking at it and going, all right, well, now I got to take actions to improve my situation.
This is something I have to respond to.
Right. It's not a threat of a bullet or getting stuck by a diseased needle or getting taken out by a terrorist attack. This is something I have control over. Right? There's a difference. And when it's your health and you can have control over it, exert some control over it. Joseph, once a year vaccine along with influenza is all they recommend. Yes. Yes, making me glad I didn't get it as she did. That's for sure. God, I have enough on that list that she had, but never really lost taste. Never, thank God for that. Or
smell. Oh my God, there was a day where I was like, or a day or two, where I was like, I can't smell my perfumes. I was like, Mongerlon isn't good anymore. Mongerlon went bad, and I started sniffing my mom, going, oh my God,
Yep.
I took out some of the stronger ones, like, okay, but then I just kind of left it alone for a few days, and then I went back to it. It's still good. They're all good. I was like so relieved that I could smell again.
I mean, RPG Grandma, we're just talking about my adult near misses as a child. Oh God, I was hospitalized with an infection where I it was so bad that I had the IV in my toes and then in my forehead.
You were 2, right?
2 or 2.5, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that was one way or the other. And then the time I fell through the second floor flooring of a house under construction, and only didn't fall all the way through because my one arm got caught, and some older teen picked me up. I was like 9. Some older teenager picked me up, and I mean, I would have really been, and yelled at me and told me to go to fuck home. I was like, yeah, okay.
Got you, man. See you later. Bye.
So yeah. So, but when it happened to you as a kid, you kind of go, as a kid, what the hell? Joseph, how long am I going to live? One more day, and then one more, until I can't. Yeah.
Yes.
And yes, say you lived it on your own terms. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stubborn as shit. That's what you got to be. Stubborn as shit. So.
No.
Oh. See, Rach, when you lean in, like when I lean in,
I was just trying to look and see what they said.
They're talking about you, Rach, and I'm not telling you.
I was just looking at it because you don't read it all,
Some of them are very small and short. It's like,
Yeah, so I looked at it and then inquiring minds want to know.
Okay, darling. Okay. So now to get back onto just the general health topics, like one thing, I have not been out there because of the air quality. We have not been outside walking. So closing my exercise rings. I mean, I did it last night, but I did 20 minutes of stretches, calisthenics, and shadow boxing to get myself there.
Wow, I disappeared again.
She disappears and disappears.
And I reappeared.
Reappear.
You could do the treadmill.
I could do the treadmill though. Yeah. So that's an idea.
I graduated to doing the programmed sessions on it, where it chooses the speed for you, and I did pretty well. So I was like, okay, that's an accomplishment, because I was able to accommodate when it would go faster, and then when it go slower. So it goes up and down in a lot of these because it's good for your heart. I guess it gets your heart used to going fast and then going slow, and in between.
There you go.
So, yeah, it's pretty nice.
But like today, we'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely not closing my stands. I don't know. Rach gets out of her chair, walks to the sink, comes back. She closes the stand. I walk downstairs.
I get pissed when it doesn't. I'm like,
I will walk downstairs, check the mail, sort the mail, come back upstairs. It tells me I wasn't standing. But I think that's probably all the heart medication I'm on. I think I don't see enough of a difference.
Yeah, I always close it.
I always close my move, darling.
Me too.
I
refuse not to.
I refuse not to.
Yeah.
Come on. So, Don, listen, just start. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to.
Even if it's that you just start walking around your neighborhood. Is that what he said?
Yeah, well, Don, even like, listen, you know what got me back to exercising to the point where I was doing stretches and shadow boxing? I bought the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, yeah.
I stopped using it.
I forgot about that.
But I was using the Nintendo Switch.
You were boxing in there.
And I was doing the boxing stuff. And
there was some other thing.
But mostly the boxing was really, the boxing was where...
Was it tennis? No.
It was tennis. That was the Mario tennis, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the boxing was really good. And once you get the moves down, you don't need the Switch. You don't need it because now you can just put yourself through it and get 10, 15 minutes in. And it's good. And it loosens the muscles, which I really need.
Yeah, and like if you just like search on YouTube for some sort of like for beginners exercises, you can find them pretty easily. And those things are helpful because you'll see the person demo it and you can learn it that way too.
Yep.
And they often will explain like why that exercise. But yeah, it's just doing, and seeing what's comfortable for you. I owe a lot to like using the TRX to help with core strength so that it helps me in my daily life, like to be more comfortable, like going to the beach and walking in the sand or walking in places where the ground might be irregular. Having that core stability really helps in just so many like functional ways because we have to use it in basically every action. And I wasn't but using the suspension trainer really helps with that stuff Yeah.
And you can take it with you.
Yeah, you can take it wherever you go.
So she's been doing that.
Yeah, because
Ray
it's really
takes this
nice
shit
because it
seriously.
it helps you write your posture. So that's a big deal too. And yeah. And there's loads of videos, that kind of show what that is. You don't have to buy the deluxe, like the TRX brand. You can get for a decent price a suspension trainer that's really good. So,
So, I mean, honestly.
And then like once you start, you get interested in like, oh, what's other people doing? And what's this about? And what's that about?
Yeah.
And then, I have a very special person
Yep.
that I'm able to ask all those questions to. Like, oh, well, well, she told me about Metcom because I was like, oh, what's a hit? What do you do? What do you do in hit workout? And she was like explaining it to me, and then she like showed me about Metcom, and just so many other things, like how to use like the stability ball also to help with the abdominal strength. Yeah. Because that's often what it comes down to. We neglect it so much.
Yeah.
But like, especially me, like, because I've been heavy for so many years, and you don't really like to focus on the heaviest area of yourself, and so it gets neglected, and like, the feelings that happen there when you engage it, you kind of lose touch with. So, I've been gaining that back over the last year and a half. So.
Well, I mean, I know that when I had my congestive heart failure hospitalization 3 years ago, at that point I wasn't able to walk really from one end of the house to the other. I was out of breath.
Yes.
Going upstairs could take me as much as 15 minutes. It was not good, not fun. And then when I was in the hospital, when I was in the midst of peeing out about almost 60 pounds of fluids, the first time I was able to walk around the nurse's station with the aide, and I did a full lap, I teared up and cried because you don't realize how much that means until you can't do it.
Because that's your agency, that's your freedom.
So
yeah.
So this was good. This was a very again, you all recharge my batteries up for a week. I really do appreciate that. Appreciate everybody that pops in. Anybody who tried to pop in, that was going to be a productive member of our little community and didn't get a chance to, I'm sorry.
We are sorry. But we will be so happy to see you and hear you next week.
We got to be proactive because of some of the bumble was it? What was that Jamaican phrase? The bumbleclots?
A bumbleclot?
The bumbleclots.
Yeah.
The bumbleclots.
Oh, that's so bad. What it really means is so bad.
I worked with a woman before I was a cop, when I was working retail, Shirley, and she talked about the bumbleclots. I was like, should I even ask? She's like, no.
No is right.
Yeah, so it's like, folks.
There's certain people you can call bumbleclots, but
folks, huge thank you to, again, all of you. Thank you so much. You really, really made our weekend. So I am now charged up to deal with my next long ass phone call when I have to call Brylanta's customer service on Monday.
That felt like it was a long phone call.
It's like,
hopefully it's better on Monday and they have more attendance.
Yeah, so I'll do that on Monday. Then I got to call my prescription back. Oh, in any case. Oh, excuse me. Thanks for putting up with us. All right.
Thank you.
Be safe, be well. God bless. Roll the dice, roll them well. And there'll be some newsy video. Okay, Tom. Did the criminal say not my pants? Oh, jeez. My patrol days in the South Bronx. I would get not my pants.
No, they said not my jacket, right?
Well, the guy was crying because he got shot multiple times in his back in his 8-ball jacket. But no, I had one guy that we pulled up, and we knew they were dealing. And as we pull up, and his pants are sagging down, we tell him to pull up his pants, and he pulls up his pants. All the vials of crack, the strips of crack, all go falling out of his pants leg.
Okay.
And we're looking at that, and it's like, yo, my man, you dropped your crack. It ain't my crack. It's raining crack. If it was raining crack, every crackhead would be on the streets right now.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, it's raining crack. So he came with us. Well, no, if I made a compilation video of images of me through my career as a cop,
that's a cute idea.
I am sure that Action Andy would probably make a complaint with YouTube that it was offensive. So I gotta watch.
Ay.
I know. My heart be still. And besides, when I was a cop, I didn't have this great fine facial hair. I had the
you had your mustache.
I had the mustache until I shaved it off in the middle of processing the arrest for some of our younger prostitutes. And when I came back, they thought they were being set up because I wasn't their arresting officer, and I had to do I had a mustache. I shaved it off, but pretend I still have one. Same guy, right? All right, folks. Thank you much. God bless. I'll catch you all later.
Take great care.